Hi everyone. Trust you are good and trust your week is starting off on a great note. Welcome to today's edition of the E-volve podcast. My name is Adewunyomi, the host of the E-volve podcast. Last week, we looked at the subject thinking beyond now. We spoke about thinking beyond the immediate, thinking for long term, thinking for the future, and considering the consequences of the actions we take in the moment, how it affects our future. And I believe you took one or two lessons from that and you're already practicing or living or imbibing the lessons or principles we shared in that session. Today, this week, we're going to be looking at a topic that resonates with all of us, a topic that affects all of us, a topic that can make or mar destinies, careers, homes, marriages, relationships, and so many things. And the topic is emotional intelligence. We're going to be speaking about emotional intelligence today. I've seen a couple of incidences where people fell short of expressing or managing their emotion, and it cost them their jobs. It cost them contracts. It also cost them some things financially. And this is why I decided that today we should speak. About a few minutes ago, I was having a conversation with someone, and in the course of that conversation, we spoke about emotional intelligence, and it just resonates. I mean, it just confirmed my choice of that topic, even though it's been on my mind for a while. But when we spoke and the person mentioned emotional intelligence, I said, okay, this is what we should focus on today. So I'm hoping that today we will learn and we would see how emotional intelligence is important, how it's a life skill. It's not just important for career, it's important for your life, even in your relationship, in everything you do, you need emotional intelligence. And so, what is emotional intelligence to start with? I think it's the major proponent of emotional intelligence is Daniel Goleman. He's considered as one of the leading thought leading opinion shaper around emotional intelligence. And basically, emotional intelligence is that inner power in you that you have that helps you to manage your emotion, helps you to express your emotion in the right way, help you to also gauge the emotion in the room when you step into a room or when you step outside. It helps you to gauge that emotion and to respond appropriately. So in terms of definition, I would say emotional intelligence is a skill required for everyone, is the ability to manage your emotion appropriately and to respond appropriately to situations and circumstances. Um, According to Daniel Goleman, there are five components of emotional intelligence, and those five components are also broken into two subheadings. There's a personal competence. There's also the social competence. Under the personal competence, you have self-awareness. That's the foundation of emotional intelligence. Your awareness of yourself, your awareness of your triggers, your awareness of your facial expression when you are angry, facial expression when you are happy, facial expression when you are smiling, when you are laughing, facial expression across different spectrum of emotion, your body reaction across different spectrum of emotion. Emotional self-awareness is being aware of all of that. And it is important. This foundation is important because sometimes it requires writing it down so that you know that this is who you are. It helps you to also then know what the triggers, the thing that triggers you to act negatively. It helps you to know the 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 movement or the changes that happen in your body, in your mind as you are moving towards that thing that will trigger the reaction or your emotion to change. So it is important that you understand that first component of the personal competence, self-awareness. The second one is self-management. or self-regulation. It is not just important to know what your triggers are, or to know what your emotions are, or to know what the things that's how you react to something. It's also important for you to then know how to manage those triggers. You know the triggers, yet you can't manage them. Of what use is your knowledge of the trigger then? I've seen people that says that when I'm angry, nobody can control me. And they will say it confidently as if it's something to be proud about. You are hungry and you know you are angry and you cannot control yourself. You are the weakest person. If you think it's a source of strength, yes, there are times you deploy anger positively. Yes, there's that aspect of managing emotions such that you can deploy the emotion you want to express at that particular time towards a positive outcome. Yes, but most I'm speaking about people that deploy emotion towards negative outcome and they know the outcome of their action and they still go ahead and then come back later to start apologizing. Those are the people that really are suffering on low emotional intelligence. So self-awareness, the foundation, self-regulation or self-management as a second layer of the personal competence. Don't forget, I mentioned that there are 5 components of emotional intelligence according to Daniel Goleman, and these 5 components can be divided into 2 sub-segments, the personal competence and then the social competence. Under the personal competence, there are 3 of them. The first one is self-awareness, which I said is the foundation, and then followed by self-management. And then the third one under it is what is called self-motivation, which is being internally, being primarily driven by your own self. You don't need any external influence to be motivated to act, to do what is right. You are driven by inner goals, by your passions, by the things inside of you. It is called self-motivation. It is important for anyone with high IQ to have that self-motivation so that even when all chips are down and everybody is down tuning and decide because maybe there is no payment of salary, nothing is happening, you are not encouraged by the things outside, but within yourself, you know this is not your typical self. It's not your own, it's not your own pattern to just down to when everybody is down to. You just want to work, you want to contribute to your quota and say you step outside beyond what everybody is doing and go ahead and discharge what is expected of you. That's self-motivation. So those are the 3 components under the personal competence. And then under the social competence, the first one, which is the fourth in that 5 components series, is called empathy. Empathy. And simply, this is your ability to listen, to understand, to hear both the spoken. Because sometimes when we listen, I will talk about that. We listen to respond. We don't even listen to understand. But when you begin to listen to understand, then you will hear the spoken, the unspoken. Every expression that a man makes, every utterance that a man makes has 2 things, the spoken element and the unspoken. And as an highly intelligent person, you must be intelligent enough to discern what the person is saying and what the person is not saying expressly, but is still trying to say. So that's the spoken and the unspoken. So empathy helps you to listen, is the ability to listen and understand and also to be patient enough to hear the other party out. It's also the ability to project yourself into the other person's situation and reverse role and say, oh, if I was in this person's situation, how would I have reacted? And then it helps you to gauge your reaction or your response to that person. So empathy is very key. It's considered a social competence because it's not just within you alone. It's you and another party right now. It's between you and somebody else that you are. So it is a social competence that is required. And then the last one under the social competence is the one that is called social skills. Social skills. This is basically ability to then read the room. You step into a room and then you can easily spot the elephants in the room. Who is the elephant in the room? Usually the one that can easily change the direction of conversation, especially if you're in a meeting, a top level negotiation, or a top level meeting, and then you step in the meeting and you are immediately able to, within a few minutes, you're able to cite who is the one that can direct or that can influence the direction of conversation, and then you focus on that person. It's a social skills also to know when you are in a gathering, when to speak, when not to speak, and how to speak. Reading the different cultural nuances within the room, the different tribal nuances within the room, and ability to manage all of them all together. That comes under social skills. So these are the five components of emotional intelligence. First, like I said, self-awareness. Second, self-management. Third, self-motivation. And then fourth, empathy. And then lastly, social skill. Now, there are certain skills, there are certain myths that come with emotional intelligence. First of them is that emotional intelligence means that you have to be nice all of the time. Just keep smiling to everybody. There's a quote that it is only the man that sells ice cream that is nice to everyone. You can't be nice to everyone all of the time. I'm not saying you have to deliberately be cruel or to be harsh, but I'm saying that being nice all of the time is not synonymous with being emotionally intelligent. Being emotionally intelligent even means sometimes it means that you react angrily to a situation because that's the kind of emotion that is required to ensure that the right outcome comes out of that situation. So it has nothing to do with being nice all of the time. Number two, people are naturally born with emotional intelligence. And if you don't have it, you don't have it. That's also a wrong. It's a myth. It's wrong. It's totally false. You can learn. It's just like the way you learn other forms of intelligence, the way we do with artificial intelligence today and everything. You also learn how to become better in terms of emotional intelligence. There are books you can read. There are tapes you can listen to. There are videos you can watch that can make you to improve. There are coaching that you can engage, or coaches that you can engage that will make you to become better in emotional intelligence. Now, why is emotional intelligence important? It's important because it's not just a workplace tool, like I said earlier on. It's a life skill. You need it at work, you need it at your home. So many homes have crashed or have been broken because one person is not able to manage his or her own emotional intelligence, or both parties just threw it all in and then they said hurtful things to each other, and by the time they realize they've done a lot of damage and it's difficult to repair. So you must know how to know yourself, know how to manage yourself, and then be internally motivated, and then also know how to be how to empathize, put yourself in the other person's shoe. When you all these five components, if you master them, you then discover that you are less angry, you become less reactive, you become more proactive in saying that a conversation is already tending towards an aggravated level. Let me manage that conversation before it gets to that level, or let me step away from that thing before it gets to that level. And then it's also important because it helps you to make better decisions. It helps better decision making. You don't make decision on the spot of the moment. You are angry now and you are throwing away life relationship, and you are taking decision about career that can affect you or even your family members in the future. So emotional intelligence helps you to stay grounded and be calm and to take those decisions within a rational frame of mind. It also helps to have stronger and better relationships. It helps to it helps you as to be an effective leader. It helps you when mental well-being, and also in managing stress. Most of the time, most of the stress we experience as a result of poor emotional or low emotional intelligence. So when you manage your emotional, when you have better or higher level of emotional intelligence, you can reduce or minimize your level of stress. Um, in recent time, I've had so many things happening at the same time in my place of work. Um, I'm relying on people that you thought will bring in their own value to the table, and they just decide to do one thing. But one of the things I've told myself, regardless of what everybody is doing, I will stay calm, assess situation per time, and try to look at long-term impact. If effects of that situation before taking decisions. So I'm not just acting on the spur of the moment, oh, this person has done this. If you decide not to show up at work, no problem. What does this impact? How can then get this job done without? So that I don't necessarily carry everything to heart and then your BP is spiking and all the rest. So you must stay calm. You must stay grounded. Everything ultimately passes. Whatever you are going through at that moment will pass. So don't rush to take a decision at that moment. And then lastly, I want to challenge you or to say that in summarizing on this topic, emotional intelligence isn't about suppressing your emotions. It's actually about mastering those emotions, knowing when to deploy which emotion, knowing which emotion to deploy at what time. So I want to invite you today to sit down, take a 15 to 20 minutes time to sit down and assess yourself. Look at those 5 areas, 5 components: self-awareness, self-management, self-motivation, empathy, and social justice, and see how you're doing. And then assess, try to engage and try to even find out your triggers, the things that make you act the way you act, and then write them down. Then put management techniques to manage those triggers so that you can also, and then tell yourself, start coaching yourself on how to master deploying the emotion that fits the particular moment you are in. And in closing, I would like to close with this quote by Viktor Frankl. He says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose. In that space between stimulus and response is the space of decision, the space of choice. And that space is determined by how emotionally intelligent you are. Thank you for listening. See you next week. Do not forget that we are all on a journey and we need to keep evolving. So let's keep evolving together as we continue on this journey. Thank you. See you next week. Bye.